Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtike. Hare Krishna. So we are going to continue today reading from Canto 6 of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 14, text 53. Does anyone remember what we read yesterday?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. We read so far, we had read yesterday that King Citraketu, he had become very attached to his son. And when he got his son with so much of difficulty through Rishi Angira. Rishi Angira had done a sacrifice, and that's how he got the son. And Krita duty to develop excessive affection for her son. So seeing this, the other wives of Citraketu too desired to have sons. King Citraketu was only attached to Krita duty because of the son, because she got the son. She gave him the son. So the other wives, they were very unhappy and from being neglected by the king, and so lamented and condemned themselves out of envy. They burned in lamentation and envy and developed a very strong hatred towards Kritaduti. And because of their enmity, they lost their minds and decided to poison Kritaduti's son. When Kritaduti saw her dead son, she was overcome with grief and fell unconscious. Everyone, the people who heard this, lamented. The co-wives who committed this crime, uh, the crime pretentiously grieved for this unexpected death of the son of Kritaduti. So they were the one who did this crime. King Citraketu and the queen lamented and were in grief over their deceased child. So I think till here we read.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. So we are going to begin now, text 53. Stanadvayam kumapam kamanditam
Stanadvayam
Dvayam kumapankamanditam
nishinchati sanjana bashpa bindubihi
Nishinchati sanjana vasvabindubi
vikirya keshan vigalatsrajasutam
Vikirya-keshan Vigalasrajasutam
kushocha chitram kurarivash suswaram
Shuchocha Chitram Kurariva Sushwaram.
Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The garland of flowers decorating the queen's head fell, and her hair scattered. Falling tears melted the collyrium on her eyes and moistened her breasts, which were covered with kumkum powder. As she lamented the loss of her son, a loud crying resembled the sweet sound of a kurari bird. So, of course, she's lamenting so much for, it's very natural. Aho vidata stamativa balisho
Aho Vidata Swamati
Swamativa Balishu
yastva atma shrishti apratirupam ihase
Yastva Drishtiya Pratirupam Ayaste
parenu jivati aparasya yamritir
परे
जीवति
परस्य
परस्य
अमृति
Viparyayaschetvam asi dhruva paraha.
विपर्ययश्चेत्त्वम् असि
त्वम् असि
ध्रुवपरः
ध्रुवपरः.
So Providence, O Creator, you are certainly inexperienced in creation. For during the lifetime of a father, you have caused the death of his son, thus acting in opposition to your creative laws. If you're determined to contradict these laws, you're certainly the enemy of living entities and are never merciful. This is the way a conditioned soul condemns the Supreme Creator when he meets reverses. Sometimes he accuses the Supreme Personality of Godhead of being crooked because some people are happy and some are not. Here the queen blames Supreme Providence for her son's death. Following the creative laws, a father should die first and then his son. If the creative laws are changed according to the whims of Providence, then Providence certainly should not be considered merciful, but must be considered inimical to the created being. Actually, it is not the creator, but the conditioned soul who is inexperienced. He does not know how the subtle laws of fruitive activity work, and without knowledge of these laws of nature, he ignorantly criticizes the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, of course, naturally, Kritadyoti is so much in lamentation for the death of her son that she's blaming the Supreme Lord. That how can a son die before the father? The father is still living. So Prabhupada is explaining in the purport that we say such things towards the Supreme Lord because we don't understand the laws of nature. We don't understand the laws of karma. So we may then blame the Supreme Lord. Nahi kram Nahi kramaschid iha mrityu janmano
नहि क्रमश्चेदृढमृत्युजन्मनो
जन्मनः
Sharirinam astu tad atma karma bhe
शरीरिणामस्तु तत्
शरीरिणामस्तु
आत्मकर्मभिः
तदात्मकर्मभिः
Yasneha pasho nijasarga vrittaye
यः निःस्नेहपाशो निजसर्गवृत्तये
स्नेहपाशो
Swayam kritaste tam imam vivrachasi
स्वयं
स्वयं
कृतस्ते
कृतस्ते
तम् इमं
वृक्षसि.
विवृक्षसि.
My Lord, you may say that there is no law that a father must die in the lifetime of his son, and that a son must be born in the lifetime of his father, since everyone lives and dies according to his own fruitive activity. However, if fruitive activity is so strong that birth and death depend upon it, there is no need of a controller or God. Again, if you say that a controller is needed because the material energy does not have the power to act, one may answer that if the bonds of affection you have created are disturbed by fruitive action, no one will raise children with affection. Instead, everyone will cruelly neglect his children. Since you have cut the bonds of affection that compel a parent to raise his child, you appear inexperienced and unintelligent. As stated in the Brahma Samhita Karmani Nirdahati, Kintu cha bhakti bhaja, one who has taken to Krishna consciousness, devotional service, is not affected by the results of karma. In this verse, karma has been stressed on the basis of karma mimamsa philosophy, which says that one must act according to his karma and that a supreme controller must give the results of karma. So, this karma mimamsa philosophy, actually, Krishna himself spoke it when he was trying to convince Nanda Maharaj to stop Indra Yagya. And he wanted to convince him to do the Govardhan Puja. He's saying, according to karma, anyway, we are going to get rain. So you don't need to please Lord Indra by the sacrifice. So Karma Mimamsa, it's kind of atheistic because it denies the existence or the supremacy of Krishna. Just says that karma is the ultimate. Of course, here Prabhupada is mentioning that the pure devotee, he does not get any karma. There's no karma for a pure devotee. So the subtle laws of karma, which are controlled by the Supreme, cannot be understood by ordinary conditions. So it's true, no? We may try to understand karma, how it's working, but it's very subtle, the karmic laws. Therefore, Krishna says that one who can understand him and how he is acting, controlling everything by subtle laws, immediately becomes freed by his grace. That is the statement of Brahma Samhita, Karmani Nirdahati Kintu cha Bhakti Bhaja. One should take to devotional service without reservations and surrender everything to the supreme will of the Lord. That will make one happy in this life and the next. So not only will we be freed of karma if we surrender completely to the Supreme Lord, we will also be completely happy. Surrender to the will of the Supreme Lord, accepting whatever is coming our way. So a devotee, his mood is tate nukampam susamikshamano, that I'm suffering is because of my past misdeeds, and whatever happiness I'm getting is because it's encouragement by Krishna, and the devotee continues his life in serving Krishna. And in this way, he becomes dear to Krishna and goes back home, back to Godhead.
How Krita Yuti, the queen, blames and says that there is the Supreme Lord, that you are inexperienced and unintelligent.
Yeah, but in her situation,
India,
I
I
it's
know.
like a shock, for a mother to see a young child just dead like that. So she surely is in a shock. And then when we are in a shock, we say certain things.
Yeah.
So it's not easy also. Like she's a mother and her
Easy.
young child is just dead. So Tvam tatanarhasi cha mam kripanam anatham.
Tvam tatanarhasi cha
Tanarhati
mam
cham
kripanam
karpanam anatham
Yaktum vichakshva pitaram tavasho kataptam.
Tyaktum
yaktam vichakshva pitaram
pitaram
tava kataptam
ashokataptam
Anjastarema bhavata praja dushtaram yad.
Anjastarema
Yastarema
bhavata
bhavata prajadustaram
prajadustaram
Dushtaram yata Vantam nayahi akrune nayame naduram.
dvantam nayahi akarune
yakaruni
yamena
yamena
duram.
duram.
My dear son, I'm helpless and very much aggrieved. You should not give up my company. Just look at your lamenting father. We are helpless because without a son, we shall have to suffer the distress of going to the darkest hellish regions. You are the only hope by which we can get out of these dark regions. Therefore, I request you not to go any further with the merciless Yama. According to the Vedic injunctions, one must accept a wife just to beget a son who can deliver one from the clutches of Yamaraj. Unless one has a son to offer oblations to the pitas or forefathers, one must suffer in Yamaraj's kingdom. So, to offer the shrad, the pindas, no? To the ancestors, King Citraketu was very much aggrieved, thinking that because his son was going away with Yamraj, he himself would again suffer. The subtle laws exist for the karmis, but I'm sorry, if one becomes a devotee, he has no more obligations to the laws of karma. So then for a devotee, it's not dependent that whether he has a son or no, or who's going to offer the shraddha, because devotee is under personal care of Krishna. Krishna makes personal arrangements to bring him back home, back to Godhead. So that's the difference.
Hare
So,
Krishna.
Hare
So beautiful
Krishna.
this line. You are a devotee, then no obligations for the law of karma.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
Hare
because he's
Krishna.
under the personal care of Krishna.
Care of Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so yeah, like you said, for the devotees, actually, he doesn't really need a son for doing all the, oblations to the pitas and forefathers. And also, I heard from one of the Guru Maharaj that uh, if he's a pure devotee, he's not only getting liberated, he's also liberating all his fathers and forefathers. With him, everyone gets liberated.
That's right.
So,
Example?
yeah.
Yeah, like
Example, anyone
Prahlad
remember?
Maharaj, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
Prahlad
yeah.
Maharaj.
Yes,
that's right.
yes. So
Yes.
yeah, so like I had asked this question to one of them because we are three daughters to my parents. So I was just worried about during COVID time, my father had passed. So he was like, "No, you don't have to really worry because you know how during COVID times and passing, many things we were not able to do." And he suggested me to continue to read Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. And I started during that time and I wasn't stopping. Of course, then you encouraged me to join the class. Thanks to you again. So he said that please continue to read and, stay in the knowledge, keep chanting, and
Yeah.
it will help your parents and it will also help your forefathers to get liberated. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what
Yes.
Krishna is saying.
Oh,
So the best
nice.
thing we can do, the best way we can help our parents, our
Yes.
family
Yes.
is if we can become devotees and also our future
Yes.
generation. Not only our
Yes.
parents, but also our future generation, that we ourselves become devotees.
Yes.
That's the best benefit we can give.
Mm.
Thank you.
Yep. Hare Krishna.
Uttishtata tamishishtamovyas vayasyas
Uttishtatat ime
Namo
shishyo
Yasyas.
vayasyas.
Tvam ahavayanti nripanandana vihartam.
Tvam
Mam
ahavayanti
ahavayanti
panandana
nipanandasam
samvihartum.
vihartum.
Suptashchiram hi ashanaya cha bhavan parito.
Suktashchiram hi
Suttashchiram hi ashanaya cha
asanaya cha
bhavan
bhavan
parito.
parito.
Pungshvastanam piba shuchohara nasva swakanam.
Bhunsh
Tanam piba shucho harana
Swakan.
swakana.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sorry
Okay.
about that. So, my dear son, you have slept a long time. Now, please get up. Your playmates are calling you to play. Since you must be very hungry, please get up and suck my breast and dissipate our lamentation. We can see, she's so shocked, not able to
Sure.
accept. It's quite natural for
For a
someone,
mother.
to
Yeah.
be so attached and like she's not able to believe it that the son is dead, and she's like thinking he'll get up at any moment.
And imagine, she doesn't know that it's this
Yeah,
other,
that's right.
right?
Yeah,
Is that
that's
this
right.
right?
Till now she doesn't know. She's just lamenting
Both of
so
them don't
much.
know. Yes.
Yeah, it's true. Not a easy situation for her, certainly. Not easy. Naham tanuja dadarshe hatamangalate.
Naham
Tanuja dadrshe
mangalati
mangalate.
Mudda smitam mudita vikshanam anabjam.
mukta smitam mudita
Mudita
vikshanam
vikshana
ananabhajam.
jam.
Kimva gatosi apunar anvayam anyalokam.
Kimbagatosi
Gatoshi apunar anvayam
lokam
lokam.
Nito grahane nanashir shrinomi kala kiraste.
nito
Tu
grhne
agrina
nashino
shinomi
kala.
kalahirasti.
My dear son, I'm certainly most unfortunate, for I can no longer see your mild smiling. You have closed your eyes forever. I therefore conclude that you have been taken from this planet to another, from which you will not return. My dear son, I can no longer hear your pleasing voice. Shishuko Vacha
Shri Shuka
Shisuka
Uvacha
Vacha
Vilapantyamritam Putram
Vilapantya
Patyamritam
Putram
Putram
Iti Chitra Vilapane
Iti Chitra Vilapane
Vilapane
Citraketu Vrisham Tapto
Chitraketu
Citraketu
Vrisham Tapto
Tapto
Mukta Kantorurodha
Mukta
Muktakanta
Kantho Rurodaha.
Sri Sukadev Goswami continued, accompanied by his wife, who was thus lamenting for her dead son. King Chitraketu began crying loudly with an open mouth, being greatly aggrieved. Tayor vilapato sarve
Tayo Vilapato Sarvi
Sarve
dampatyostad anuvrataha
Dampatyo
Dampatyostat
Tad
Anuvrataha
Anuvrataha
rurudusma naranarya
Rurudusmanara
Ruduhas
Narya
Naranad
sarvam asid achetanam.
Sarvam
Sarvam
Asid
Ashit
Chetanam.
Achetanam.
As the king and queen lamented, all their male and female followers joined them in crying. Because of the sudden accident, all the citizens of the kingdom were almost unconscious. Evam kashmalam apanam
Evam
Evam
Kashmalam
Kashmalam
Apanam
Apanam
nashta samdhyamanayakam.
Nasta Samnyam Anayakam
Gyatvangira namarishir
Yatvangira Namarishi
ajagama sanaradaha.
Ajagama Sanaradaha.
When the great sage Angira understood that the king was almost dead in an ocean of lamentation, he went there with Narad Rishi. Thus, in the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 6th canto, 14th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled King Chitraketu's Lamentation. So we can see that Angira Muni, great personality, that he was able to understand what happened. Narad Muni is also like that, right? That's why Narad Muni will suddenly come on the scene. So Angira Muni is come. Did you all want to add anything, comment anything?
So now they've come, maybe they will tell them, right? That why
Yeah.
this happened, right?
Yeah, now let's see. Now it gets even like very interesting. Now let's hear what
Yeah.
happens in this chapter. Because these are great rishis and they have great powers. Let's see what they do. So, chapter 15, the saints Narad and Angira instruct King Chitraketu. In this chapter, Angira Rishi, along with Narad, consoles Chitraketu as far as possible. Angira and Narad Rishi came to relieve the king from excessive lamentation by instructing him about the spiritual significance of life. The great saints Angira and Narad explained that the relationship between father and son is not factual. It is simply a representation of the illusory energy. Not easy for us to understand, no? Because we are so much captivated by Maya, we are not able to understand that our relationships are not factual. For us, it is a fact. So, but this
So that
is
means
how
it's
this,
material. It is material.
yeah,
That means, right?
material,
Every
yeah,
relation, like how we say our husband, our father, mother,
yeah.
but yeah,
So why
like we've
not
heard
factual?
now.
Because the soul, we are the soul. We have a
So
bodily relationship.
yes.
That's why it said the relationship did not exist before, nor will it stay in the future. It's only for this time, right now, that the relationship is there. By the arrangement of time, the relationship exists only in the present. One should not lament for temporary relationships. The entire cosmic manifestation is temporary. Although not unreal, it is not factual. So it's temporary. This material world is temporary. Our time in this body is temporary. So someone may say that this material world is false. No, the material world is not false. It very much exists. We are very much right now in the material world. We are very much right now in the body. What is not real is we thinking we are the body. What is not a fact is we thinking we are the body. That is what is not real. But we are very
And
much
it's
inside the
temporary.
body. Temporary, that's right.
Yeah, I think that's
Our
the meaning,
time in
huh?
this body is temporary. That's right. By the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, everything created in the material world is transient. By a temporary arrangement, a father begets a child, or a living entity becomes the child of a so called father. This temporary arrangement is made by the Supreme Lord. Neither the father nor the son exists independently. So, temporary relationships. As the king listened to the great sages, he was relieved from his false lamentation. And then he inquired about their identity. The great sages presented who they were and instructed that all sufferings are due to the bodily conception of life. When one understands his spiritual identity and surrenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Spiritual Person, one becomes actually happy. When one searches for happiness in matter, one must certainly lament for bodily relationships. Self realization means spiritual realization of one's relationship with Krishna. Such realization ends one's miserable material life. So we'll begin with text 1. Shishuka Vacha
Shri Shukra Uvacha
Uchatur Mitakopante
Uchatur Nritakopante
Patitam Ritakopamam
Patitam Nritakopamam
Shoka Bibhutam Rajanam
Shokabhibhutam Rajanam
Rajanam
Bodhayan
Bodhayanto
Bodhayantav Sad Uktibhe.
Bodhayantav Sat
Sad
Uktihi.
Uktibhi.
Sri Sukadev Goswami said, while King Citraketu, overcome by lamentation, lay like a dead body at the side of the dead body of his son, the two great sages, Narad and Angira, instructed him about spiritual consciousness as follows. Koyam syat tava Rajendra
Koyam Syat Tava Rajendra
Bhavan Yam Anushochati
Bhavanyam
Bhavanyam
Anushochati
Anushojati
Tvam Chasya Katama Shishto
Tvam Chasya
Chasya
Katama
Katama
Shishto
Shishto
Puredanim ataha param.
Puredanim
Puredan
atah param.
Ataha Param.
Param. Hey
Okay,
Rajan.
what relationship does the dead body for which you lament have with you? And what relationship do you have with him? You may say that now you are related as father and son, but do you think this relationship existed before? Does it truly exist now? Will it continue in the future? So we'll hear the purport by Srila Prabhupada. The instructions given by Narad and Angira Muni are the true spiritual instructions for the illusion conditioned soul. This world is temporary, but because of our previous karma, we come here and accept bodies, creating temporary relationships in terms of society, friendship, love, nationality, and community, which are all finished at death. These temporary relationships did not exist in the past, nor will they exist in the future. Therefore, at the present moment, the so-called relationships are illusions. So they are for the present. They didn't exist before. They were not going to exist in the future. So they are illusions. So then, is it that we should go away? No, we still do our duty. Krishna is telling Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita that no, you do your duty. Whatever you're supposed to do, you do. At the same time, you remember me. So we continue our duty, our whatever we need to do. At the same time, we cultivate Krishna consciousness. Continue to hear and chant. Yatha prayanti samyanti
Yatha
Yatha
prayanti
Prayanti
samyanti.
Samyanti
sroto vegena baluka
Shruto Vegena
Shrutavegena
Balukaha
Balukaha
samyujyante viyujyante
Samyujyante
Yujyante
viyujyante.
Yujyante
tatha kalena dehinaha.
Tatha
Tatha
kalena
Kalena
dehinaha.
Devinaha.
Looking as small particles of sand sometimes come together and are sometimes separated due to the force of the waves, the living entities who have accepted material bodies sometimes come together and are sometimes separated by the force of time. The misunderstanding of the conditioned soul is the bodily conception of life. So, our misunderstanding is what? That we are thinking we are the body. That is our misunderstanding. The body is material, but within the body is the soul. This is spiritual understanding. Unfortunately, one who is in ignorance under the spell of material illusion accepts the body to be the self. So we are the soul, but we are thinking we are the body. This is this illusion of the material energy. This is our ignorance. We cannot understand that the body is matter. We are not able to understand. No? We are thinking, I'm the body, I'm the body. We are not able to understand this body is actually dead matter, made up of earth, water, ether, fire. Not able to understand under the illusion. Like small particles of sand, bodies come together and are separated by the force of time, and people falsely lament for unification and separation. Unless one knows this, there is no question of happiness. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita 2:13, this is the first instruction given by the Lord. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yovanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatra namuyati. As the embodied soul continually passes in this body, from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. So Krishna is giving this knowledge of the soul to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. That we are the soul, we are not the body. When what happens at death is we simply change our body. We are not the body, we are spiritual beings trapped in the body. Our real interest lies in understanding this simple fact. Then we can make further spiritual progress. Otherwise, if we remain in the bodily conception of life, our miserable material existence will continue forever. Political adjustments, social welfare work, medical assistance, and the other programs we have manufactured for peace and happiness will never endure. We shall have to undergo the sufferings of material life one after another. Therefore, material life is said to be dukhalayam ashaswatam. It is a reservoir of miserable conditions. We were just reading this verse in the morning in Bhagavad Gita. Dukhalayam ashaswatam, temporary place of miseries. So what are the miseries? We can see we have in modern world, we have so many different ways to enjoy. Each of us, depending on our desires, our modes, we enjoy in different ways, different circumstances with different people. So then why is Krishna saying it's miserable? What are the real miseries?
Our desires cause.
Yeah, but what are the miseries actually? What Krishna
The
says?
Birth,
What
age,
are the
old age,
miseries?
the
disease.
threefold miseries are
Yeah,
the
Birth, age,
body.
old age,
Yeah,
disease.
birth,
Adi
death,
Devi.
old age. Birth, death, old age, and birth, death, old age, and disease. Yes, those
Okay.
are the actual miseries of life. You know, no matter how many ways we manufacture to enjoy ourselves, we are still getting old and older. No matter how much we try to stop this aging process, still we continue to age. No matter how many more medicines are coming out, so many more procedures to help us with our diseases, yet we continuously get sick, and then of course death is going to come one day. So these are really the miseries of life. Yatha dhana su vedhana
Yatha dana
Dana,
suvedana
bhavanti na bhavanti cha
bhavanti
Tina,
bhavanti
evam
Evam
bhutani bhuteshu
evam bhutani bhuteshu
Teju,
choditani shamayaya.
choditani shamayaya.
When seeds are sown in the ground, they sometimes grow into plants and sometimes do not. Sometimes the ground is not fertile and the sowing of seeds is unproductive. Similarly, sometimes a prospective father, being impelled by the potency of the Supreme Lord, can beget a child, but sometimes conception does not take place. Therefore, one should not lament over the artificial relationship of parenthood, which is ultimately controlled by the Supreme Lord. Maharaj Citraketu was actually not destined to get a son. Therefore, although he married hundreds and thousands of wives, all of them proved barren, and he could not beget even one child. When Angira Rishi came to see the king requested the great sage to enable him to have at least one son. Because of the blessing of Angira Rishi, a child was sent by the grace of Maya, but the child was not to live for long. Therefore, in the beginning, Angira Rishi told the king that he would beget a child who would cause jubilation and lamentation. King Chitraketu was not destined to get a child by providence or the will of the Supreme. Just as sterile grain cannot produce more grain, a sterile person, by the will of the Supreme Lord, cannot beget a child. Sometimes a child is born even to an impotent father and sterile mother, and sometimes a potent father and fertile mother are childless. Indeed, sometimes a child is born despite contraceptive methods, and therefore the parents kill the child in the womb. In the present age, killing children in the womb has become a common practice. Why? When contraceptive methods are taken, why don't they act? Why is a child sometimes produced so that the father and the mother have to kill it in the womb? We must conclude that the arrangement of so-called scientific knowledge cannot determine what will take place. What is enacted actually depends on the Supreme Will. So it is the will of the Supreme Lord, by Krishna's will, that one gets a child or not. So Citraketu was not supposed to get a child. So we can see what we can do is we can act, but the result, that depends on God. Depends on His will. What is His will for us? His arrangement for us. These are all arrangements. It is by the Supreme Will that we are situated in certain conditions in terms of family, community, and personality. It's true, no? We just find ourselves in the body. After some time when we are conscious, we understand, and we find ourselves in the body. Nobody asked us which planet you want to be born, which family, which parents. Nobody asked us that. Just find it. It's all an arrangement. These are all arrangements of the Supreme Lord according to our desires, under the spell of Maya, illusion. In devotional life, therefore, one should not desire anything, since everything depends on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishna knows what's good for us, and He's providing for us. As stated in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu 1.1.11, Anyabhalashita Shunya, Jnana Karmadya Navritam, Anukulyena Krishnanu, Shilanam Bhakti Uttama. One should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably and without desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. That is called pure devotional service. One should act only to develop Krishna consciousness. For everything else, one should fully depend on the Supreme Person. We should not create plans that will ultimately make us frustrated. So pure devotional service, acting for the pleasure of Krishna without any material desire, without desire for liberation, without desire for any mystic perfections, but just working for the pleasure of Krishna, working to become Krishna conscious, acting to become Krishna conscious, doing whatever we can do for the pleasure of Krishna. So we may say we have so many material desires, we are not yet here, but at least we can have a desire, I wish I can engage in pure devotional service. And that desire is a pure desire. Even desiring pure devotional service is a pure desire. It's pure devotional service. So we'll stop here. Did you all want to say anything? We're already over time.
Yeah, that should be our desire, that give us devotional service. We just engage in that.
Yeah, engage in pure devotional service. Yeah. Because of our other various desires, we ourselves are creating different types of misery for ourselves. We are creating different types of bodies in this material world for ourselves. But we still have so many material desires. So Bhagavatam says, even if you have material desires or you have no material desires, you desire liberation, just continue to worship Krishna. Gradually, our heart will get purified. And as you rightly just now said, just desire, have this desire also. Engage in pure devotional service. Yes, thank you so much.
Quite famous, na? This verse is Anya Vilashita Sunyam. Heard few times.
Yeah, it's good to memorize this.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's from the Bhakti Rasamrit.
Yeah. Rupa Goswami has given us the definition of pure devotional service. Thank you so much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.